his first year in office, President Duterte vowed to push for an independent foreign policy. In the past 2 years, his administration pushed to establish closer ties with Russia and China. Duterte's foreign policy on his second year is pretty much a photocopy of his first year in office. It is the same rhetoric on China, a good neighbor but a terrible enemy that he would not want to enrage. And so the 2016 Hague ruling again took a backseat. The president says he cannot afford to go to war against the Middle Kingdom. And besides, he needs Beijing.
I just simply love Xi Jinping. He understood, he understands my problem, and is willing to help. It's like a flower that would bloom into something big and beautiful. So I would say I need China. More than anybody else at this time of our national life, I need China. I will not say something which is not true.
And Duterte's soft stance seemed to have emboldened China. In May, Beijing sent anti-ship and air-to-air missiles to 3 Philippine-claimed reefs in the Spratly Islands. These are Kagitingan, Zamora, and Panganiban reefs, internationally known as Fiery Cross, Subi, and Mischief reefs. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying dismissed the concerns raised by the United States, saying the installations were within China's rights to protect its sovereignty. Hua also dubbed the move as part of its peaceful activities in the waterways. However, the president's men scrambled to defend the Philippine government's apparent non-reaction to this issue amid allegations that it has gone too soft when it comes to China.
This is not a new construction in the sense that what China promised is new reclamations, okay, or artificial islands. I'm not saying it's okay, but that's the promise. You can't ignore the fact that because of very good relations, we can be confident that China as a country does not view us as a threat. And there is no reason why, assuming they have missiles that they can use, they will use it on us.
We are also aware that there has to be talks between all the claimants and the non-regional players. So you cannot just tell China, bawal kayo dito, but X and Y is doing this, and then non-regional players are doing this. No, in the same manner that we cannot just tell non-regional players, especially Western Navy powers, not to go in the area kasi may freedom of navigation.
And the palace again downplayed the landing of a Chinese military aircraft in the Davao airport to refuel. Roque says it's no big deal. And that's exactly his reaction when it was confirmed that a Chinese trekking ship docked in Davao on Tuesday, July 17. Roque says Chinese survey ships, just like U.S. warships, may dock at Philippine ports. And his words, only those afflicted with xenophobia will find the routine incident objectionable. In June, the public was outraged over a documentary that showed the alleged bullying of Filipino fishermen in the Scarborough Shoal. The perpetrators, allegedly the Chinese Coast Guard. The video showed Chinese men on board the fishermen's boat going through their catch in exchange for noodles and cigarettes. Again, the palace downplayed this incident, and despite the video and testimonies from other fishermen, Malacanang was not comfortable, calling this incident harassment.
Totoo po na nagkaroon ng insidente kung saan kinuhanan ng isda ang ating mga mangingisda sa Scarborough. Pero sang-ayon po sa kanila, merong binibigay na kapalit. Bagamat hindi sila po pwede makipag-usap dahil mga hindi marunong mag-English, kada kinukuhanan sila ng isda, binibigyan sila ng noodles, ng sigarilyo at pinaka-importante, tubig. Hindi nagkakaroon ng kasunduan kung ganong karaming isda ang kukunin sa kanila. This is not acceptable. I would not say it's harassment because you know what harassment is during the time of President Aquino. Water cannons were used against them. They were rammed. They were the subject of being targeted by live guns.
Hindi tayo nakakapangisda doon sa Scarborough Shoal. Yung ating mga tropa hinaharas nila. Ang nag-mismanage yung previous administration dahil nagkagulo-gulo rito.
The president's soft stance on the West Philippine Sea row is in sharp contrast to his bravado on Benham Rice, or the Philippine Rice, a rich underwater plateau off the coast of Isabela and Aurora.
I'm going to the Benham Rice, and I will make a statement there. that nobody but nobody owns this place, including the continental shelf, the underground landmass that extends under the sea. And when this crucial question was asked of me, what will you do if they also claim it? I said, I will go to war. And I will go to war. Believe me.
The president earlier planned to ride a jet ski to the undersea feature, but that supposed historic jet ski ride did not happen. Instead, he sent a team of scientists, together with his aide Bongo and his son, Baste, who rode jet skis in Casiguran Bay, but that's around 250 kilometers away from the Philippine rise. And while President Duterte praised China, he was lashing out at a longtime ally, the United States, or rather, its politicians. It also didn't help that a U.S. congressional body held a hearing about Duterte's war on drugs. American lawmakers then urged Duterte to stop extrajudicial killings in the Philippines, a call which he outrightly dismissed.
I will be forced to investigate you also. The photographs that you took of the people you murdered here in the Philippines, the Moro people massacre.
The president also co-signed up to Russia. In October last year, Duterte received firearms from Moscow. And that is months after meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin at the Kremlin. He also thanked Putin for helping out with the rehabilitation of Marawi. And Duterte may have gotten flack for his apparent submissiveness to China. However, he did draw support when he called on other nations to protect Filipino migrant workers. Case in point, Kuwait. The Philippines and the Gulf state figured in a diplomatic scuffle when authorities from the Philippine embassy rescued some distressed Filipino workers in Kuwait. That's also after Kuwaiti authorities discovered the corpse of a Filipino worker named Joanna de Mafelis stuffed in a freezer at an abandoned apartment. For a time, Duterte banned the deployment of OFWs to the Gulf state until Kuwait gave in to his demands.